Hi guys, welcome to the second week of the Ravings of an Almost Sane College Student. So originally I was going to use this spot to talk about why Firefly is my favorite film, and it was kind of going to be a little bit on gender in the media. But instead I went to sociology, and I found out some really interesting things about the social concept we call race. Now, for those who don't know, race is not a biological concept. There are no particular genetic characteristics that affect someone besides their physical appearance to give us race, which means basically that the race isn't a thing, at least not to the extent that we give it. Like, everyone's heard the stereotype, African Americans are really good at sports or Asians are really good at math. There's no scientific evidence to support that. Those are all more tied into cultural stigmas. So, I'm white, and I don't really have a right to talk about, in my mind, how bad it would be to be in a minority. But there is something that you have to consider, is how much white people are kind of trained to put down minorities. And it's not something that we try to do. At least I personally don't try to do it. And it's not something that we really think about doing. But when you consider the way that the world works, we are kind of automatically pushing minority races down. And that's kind of it just happens. And it's something you have to be very aware of. That we do create us in that mentality. That white people are raised in different circumstances. We never expect to be racially profiled. We don't walk into a shop and they go, oh, we got to watch that one because of the color of our skin. We're not prejudiced against when we walk into a neighborhood. We are constantly, in most areas, surrounded by people who are of our skin color, and so we never feel left out, even though that's not really our fault or our creation personally. That's something that happens and is something you have to consider. Another thing is how much science has looked for race as a biological thing. Since basically we discovered another race, scientists have been cutting open bodies and weighing organs and checking everything to find out what it is that really makes especially African Americans inferior. And they didn't find anything. They actually found that human beings are really invariable race. There are more differences between a fruit fly and a fellow fruit fly. Well, less differences between a fruit fly and a fruit fly than there are between a human and a chimpanzee. There is very little variation in our DNA, even between human beings that look completely different from us. And so, the gist of the raving today is to really take a look and consider why we call race race. Now, my theory is that as time progressed, segregation happened, and that's a historical thing, it happened. And so every single culture that came to America began to form its own little Asian American, African American, Hispanic American culture. So that then led to different cultural stigmas and expectations that differ from the white majority, even though we're not quite the majority anymore. And they differed, and so that created these stereotypes that just because someone's Hispanic or Asian or Black, they're going to act a certain way. And that has a lot less to do with the color of their skin, a lot more to do with how they were raised. So I think the point of this is to really take racial stereotypes and just stereotypes in general with a grain of salt, that there really isn't anything that makes a human being different that you can tell from looking at their outsides. We all have we have variations, but there's no more likelihood that I am similar to someone who looks like me than there is that I am similar to someone who doesn't look anything like me, because our phenotypes really have nothing to do with our actualness and who we are. So, something to think about. And I salute you. Happy Tuesday. Writing on my hand is more schools and more countries to apply to. Those are going very well. Thank you for not asking. And I hope to see all of you guys next week with news about something more interesting.